David Vizard here, and you guys are watching PowerTec 10. The subject for this video is, well, we take a few steps back here because I feel that I'm kind of in a little awkward situation. I've got to do a book review, and as an author myself, I'm in a very good position to do a book review, but also in a position to make some really good enemies if I don't give a good book review. Now, this is the channel where we tell it the way it really is, but I did make a promise to somebody that I would do a review on their book, and that somebody is Eric Weingartner. Now, Eric and I are roughly in the same business. I say roughly. Eric does cylinder heads, good ones at that, and I do cylinder heads, good ones at that. Proven by not the dyno results, but the race results. So I'm kind of on an edge here. Now, I can tell you, fortunately, Eric solved that problem for me. Why? Because the book review has come out pretty good in his favor. So I come out in Eric's eyes, hopefully, in pretty good favor. But I'm not letting that sway my judgment. As I said, I'm going to tell it the way it really is, making enemies or no. It won't be the first enemy I've made. I know I've had death threats from some people whose products I've said are just no good. Don't buy them. So anyway, let's get on with the review. Now, I'm looking for a title for this video, and I thought I would call it, because it has a fair degree of wisdom in it, I would call it something with a biblical theme. Instead of the Book of Job, I'm going to call it the Book of Eric. Now let me get on with what I'm going to show you. First, here's the book. That's how thick it is. So what's this book all about? Well, as you may have guessed, it's all about horsepower. Nothing surprising there. However, what may come as a surprise, even sticker shock, is the $150 price. What book can be worth $150? Well, that's a question we're going to answer now. Firstly, it contains 153 tests. That is a selection that includes a section on cylinder head flow tests and sections on dyno testing exhausts, cylinder heads, and camshafts. Now, the question here is it worth $150? Well, let's put it this way. Eric had the 100 some that he originally printed sell out. I don't believe anybody asked their money back. Now, when I first got my copy, I decided I was going to sit back last thing at night and spend 10 minutes reading it before I went to bed. I say 10 minutes, that's just to basically look through it so that I could frame my review of it. Well, that 10 minutes stretched into 2 hours, and I only got about 20 pages into it. Yes, it's very interesting, but I have to ask the question, is it the book for you? Not if you're the average guy who buys a book and reads it so that he has a better knowledge, passing knowledge of the subject, and can read it again if they need more detail. This is a book for serious engine builders, serious enthusiasts, serious anyone who wants knowledge. Now, the data in there, other than the notes on the data sheets themselves, has no editorial. So it's not a book you read because it's got fancy English in or whatever. It's a book that you use and reference the results. They may not be for an LS engine, which these tests were all done on, but they will point you in the right direction. I don't have an LS engine, but I learned a lot from the trends that it shows up. So, from that aspect, if you crave knowledge, it's worth every cent of that $150. Now let's get down to the hardcore basics here. The first print run Eric sold out of. He is going to do another print run for Christmas. $150 a time, and I think he's going to print about 100. You can start putting your orders in for it now, because I predict it will sell out. Now let me show you a few pages of this so that you can see just what you're getting. Here's the opening page, then on to the last part of the opening page subjects, then the, how shall I say, index of tests, which goes right on to page 153. The flow tests are notated, I think that's a correct word, with little drawings from time to time just so that you know what you've got. And here are the power curves. They're nicely done. The printer setup is such that it gives very distinct curves, much better than your typical off the dyno curves. Let me pose a question here. Would I buy this book? Yes. However, I have to kind of check my conscience here. Eric's work in this book is mostly centered around the cam shootout he had in 2024, which I was the first person to enter. And I also did a video saying that I can't lose by entering this competition. And I didn't. Now you might wonder why somebody else was named the winner. They won the competition. I won a load of data that allowed me to advance my LS cam program. Let me tell you the significance there. Let's say that I was 100 yards away from my goal. Eric's work allowed me to get to 25 yards of my goal. So he advanced me, figuratively speaking, by 75 yards. Do you know how much it would have cost me to do the tests myself that would have got me to that point? A good few $1,000s. Instead, I got it for the price of an entry fee. Well, actually 2 entry fees. I told Eric he was not charging enough for this, and I sent him in 2 entry fees for my one. So you might think that I have something of a bias here. I can't deny that that's a possibility. But in my professional career, I have tried very hard to keep bias out of any decisions that I make on technical stuff. I think I've done pretty well. But of course I might be biased in that answer even. So let me sum up by saying here, Eric's work was very valuable to me. I suspect it's very valuable to a lot of the people that bought this book. If you want to advance your state of art and you think this is going to do it, it probably will. So, have at it. Buy Eric's book. That's all I've got to say on the subject, so thank you for watching. And thanks to Andy for keeping a guard over my point of view here to minimize my bias, and I think he's done that. So, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and all the other stuff. And before we close up, thank you, Eric. I appreciate what you've done for me, although that was not your original intent, but that was the value of your book. Thank you.